It's just fluff. I'm non-binary.
Oh, right, excuse me.
Sorry.
My name is Garda Lisa McDonnell. I phoned from Dundrum Garda Station.
Yeah. Um.
That was me that spoke to you earlier.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I was literally.
No, no, no
No one
worries.
likes to talk to anyone when they're on the toilet, and no one likes to talk when they're on the toilet. But I know it's a 666 number, so I had to figure it out.
Yeah, no, thank you for being honest. I am ringing because of you spoke to my colleague in town when you made the complaint that the child's actually abuse line. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've actually tried to do this a couple of times. Actually, I've been trying to do it for 2.5 years.
Okay.
And I can run through that so you have a full background if you want.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
I know you need to have a full background because you need to know who was told.
Yeah, well, we can get to that. Yeah, I'd like to meet you to do to discuss it in person. Do you want to make a full faceless complaint about this individual?
Yeah.
Do you know his name?
No, that's the problem. See, there was actually I was trying to make two complaints. One was about a parent, and one was about this doctor. And in part, I'm long estranged from the parent, and the background. I don't know if you have the background already, where I was someone tried to blind and kill me when I was living in Finland, and due to that, I was going to state provided trauma counselling, and all of this came up, and I was told to deal with it. Well, not told; it was suggested that I should. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and now I've known about the GP thing for a while, but I have very bad ADHD, and I don't know the name. I know the event, and when I brought it to the parent, who I was also advised to deal with the parents over 30 years, sexual, physical, and psychological and coercive control abuse, um, they got very angry with me, which is, which is not what you'd expect from someone who's been a social worker for 40 years. They initially refused to give me the name, and it was a point of contention. They finally gave me the name, but in moving back to Ireland and all the trouble in moving back, I lost the paper it was on. That parent has taken, I suppose it would be what best called is coercive control steps to abuse the law to uh, both file a protective a protection order against me because of I'm assuming guilt, and has withheld both actually in court and up to now the name of the doctor since then. But that parent has the name of the doctor, um, and it's not something that they had to go look for. They actually readily remembered it after an hour and a half of fighting on the phone 4 years ago. Um,
Okay.
so
Well,
that parent
we
can
can
be
get the
reached.
name. We can get the name. Um, gradually. No, we don't. That's not important now. What's important is what you remember about this individual.
I have it written down. I can give you that.
When did you make the notes?
I made the notes back when I was trying to file it first in um, 2019
Where did you do that?
here in Ireland.
Where?
I tried to for Dublin. I tried to file it first in the Bridewell, and they were very rude to me basically. And the Bridewell kept telling me to go to Donnybrook. Um, this gets convoluted, and you're going to probably hear things you don't want to hear about guards.
Me?
And you're probably going to hear things about guards you don't want to hear. And it's not directed at you. It's just this is just the course of it. I I was subjected to an anonymous mental health check, which went badly, and I was beaten and tortured and falsely imprisoned by a guard from Kevin Street. Now, that's all been dismissed as a lay litigant. I got the full fraudulent charges attached to that were dismissed. However, a member of GSOC abused access to my medical records and made the GSOC complaint about the child abuse, which is going to be the subject of legal action. So that's really one of the first places that it came out, as a GSOC member abused access to those records. So that's how it first came.
GSOC have records of you being sexually abused as a child.
GSOC found notes of it in a psychiatric interview, and then used it against me in the investigation into that guard. As I said, some of this is going to be hard to believe, but it's all documented.
No, I understand what you're saying. I just want to be clear. So, GSOC used your psychiatric notes in relation to your child sexual abuse against you in this case with the guard.
Yes, and that's
How did they do that?
and that's all documented, and it's been brought up in court, in the circuit court.
Okay, no, I understand that, yeah, but
I'm as flabbergasted as you. I went in for an interview regarding one guard's 2-year campaign of harassment and attempting to profit off me, and I was about 45 minutes into an interview. I have the video. I get sideswiped with them going, "It says here that you were abused as a child," and I was like, "I don't really want to talk about that." And they made the next. I'm talking about it for the next 15 minutes, and then next, what happened was, just to give you scope. I'm sorry, this is going to just take a little bit to explain. The GSOC person was a guy called Gary Russell, and he started to involve Tusla and make the whole thing about the parent, which is my mother, which, as you can imagine, is extremely distressing and confusing. And I was advised to file both the perjury complaint and the historic abuse complaint with the Bridewell, because I couldn't file it with Kevin Street due to the ongoing difficulty. The Bridewell found out about the GSOC complaint, refused to take anything. First of all, and this is how they did it. So first of all, I went down to make a complaint. They refused me. They told me to come back with a statement. I came back with a written statement. They refused to take the written statement. They told me to come back with a file of evidence. I spent 2.5 months building a file of evidence. Big folder, audio, emails, everything, even a spreadsheet. I brought it down. They took it. They gave me the runaround for about 3 or 4 months, and then told me that they wouldn't be taking it. They didn't request a DAR or anything, and they refused the historic abuse. Even talk about. They just kept saying to me, "You can go to Donnybrook. You know, it wouldn't be a good idea if we took this here, because we've only got young guards, trainee guards." And they kept doing this to me, and I was saying that I couldn't make Donnybrook. It was quite far away from me, and I was still suffering, and still am, from the beating I got regarding my spine. So then GSOC kept telling me that they were going to involve Tusla, and Gary Russell told me it was his moral duty. This is all recorded as well, and I specifically requested that the file not be sent to Kevin Street because of the harassment. And what followed then was the file. I didn't even really want Tusla involved. I didn't understand why Tusla would be involved. I'm in my 30s, and then I got thrown into the Tusla thing. How I figured out and why it got brought up in court that it was what the whole moral duty thing was, pardon my swearing, was bullshit, was because the Christmas of that year, a close, ex-close friend tried to rape me. And I tried to file that, and I brought it to Gary Russell's attention, and he had no interest. And obviously, if he had no interest in an active, recent sexual assault where someone had literally tried to overpower me, to bugger me, that the whole thing was just done to derail the GSOC complaint. Shortly after that, the GSOC complaint got whitewashed. My case got given by Tusla and GSOC to Kevin Street. Whereupon I ended up dealing with a guy called Daniel Hanlon or O'Hanlon, and I've got documented, diagnosed, it's there, it's not made up, post-traumatic stress disorder, vastly exacerbated by the torture from the number of Kevin Street guards. Torture which included slowly breaking my wrists with double lock cuffs.
Okay, listen to me for a second, okay? With all respect, I appreciate you've had a history with the Gardaí, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to know about that.
I'm just giving you where the case ended up. So Daniel Hanlon then got the case. He was told about it. So it's gone from GSOC, who interviewed me about it, Daniel Hanlon, and then multiple phone calls about this, multiple emails. I was told by the Kevin Street inspector that the case was closed before it was even opened. And then Hanlon took receipt of the written account of both things, and nothing kind of happened there, really. And that's
this based solely on the child sexual abuse.
which this is me giving you the trajectory of how many people.
No, but you're talking about this case that Daniel Hanlon closed before even opening it. Is this just about the child sexual abuse?
No, an inspector. It gets very convoluted. An inspector tried to inform me that it was closed at the same time as Hanlon was dealing with it. I couldn't come to an arrangement with Hanlon regarding, because I'm immune compromised, regarding coming into a station or a remote interview, which was refused, and then it died. And I've continued to try and file it, but that was just so you know all the stops of up to you.
Well, it's here with me now.
Okay.
Right? So let's put it down fresh.
Okay.
Alright? I have it now, and if I can investigate it, I will do that completely. I promise you that. Okay?
Okay.
It happened, you said, in Lorgan. It is covered by Dundrum Garda Station.
Okay.
It would never have been covered by Kevin Street in the first place.
Or Donnybrook.
Or Donnybrook.
Yeah, I don't know why they kept telling me to go there.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Listen,
Yeah.
that's in the past. I'm in the future. Do you want to make a statement, a written complaint about what has happened?
Yes.
Right. Well, listen, can we do that then? Can we make an arrangement to meet up and do that? And you can give me a copy of what you've already written about this.
Yeah. Yes.
Where are you living now?
I'm living on Thomas Street.
Right. So where would it suit you to do this?
I'd probably prefer it not to be in a Garda station.
Okay, well leave it with me then and I can arrange something else. Is there a place? You know, it's a very sensitive issue that you wouldn't want to be discussing in public either.
I know that, yeah.
Is there any place? If you don't have anywhere, I can try and find somewhere and I'll get back to you.
the only things I can suggest is one of the more quiet, upmarket hotels, like what's that one on the Keys called? Because that has boots. I can't remember. There's one. whatever the one on it. Oh Jesus, it's the one on the corner by the Halfpenny Bridge near there. That has a boot. I somewhere that has boots, I suppose. I just have a bit of trauma about Garda stations, and
No, that's fine. No, listen, that's fine. Leave it with me, okay, and I'll get back to you. But at this moment in time, you want to do that. Can you just tell me briefly on the phone what is it that this person did to you exactly?
um, when I was in the room with the parent, the abusive parent, and they laid me on a bed and drew the curtain while the person was in the room, and very violently groped my genitals for no reason while leering into my face, like leaning over me. Um, it wasn't part of a medical exam. I've had to verify this. Just um, like if you're prone, you're lying down, as if someone is to listen to your chest or something, and lifted up the elastic of my pants and things, and shoved his hand. First of all, looked down, looked back at me, grinned, leered at me, leaning closer to me, then shoved his hand down my pants, and um, I violently groped my genitals to a point of pain while leaning close to the point where I could feel his breath on my face, just grinning at me.
And how many times did this happen?
I think twice. My memory's a bit,
So,
my memory's a bit damaged at the moment because of post-traumatic stress disorder, which sort of makes, and also the ADHD doesn't really help with detail.
okay. And do you remember the name of this individual yourself at all? First name, second name, nickname?
No, no, just as a doctor, and that it was the road you take out of Stillorgan, going towards where the Stillorgan house is. There's that straight road that goes towards Stepaside and the Goat. It was his surgery was there, um, and like I'm pretty sure it was twice.
How
But
old were you?
I was between. Let's see, so I was still living in. I was between 11 and 12, I think.
And how old was this man at the time?
I'd say he was in his 40s to 50s.
Is there a chance this man could be dead?
I hope so, but I also hope he's not dead. I was advised to make. I mean, I realise the time and memory, but he did it with someone in the room. He just drew a curtain, and I just figured that, but it would help me, and if anyone else had said something, that it would maybe help them.
Yeah, no, I understand that, yeah, but I'd imagine there's a good chance he could be dead now.
I'd like to find that out anyway.
Yeah, well, we will find that out. So, I'll have a look and see. Do you remember what he looked like?
Uh, grayish hair, kind of a narrow face, and a largish nose, kind of that Irish hook nose kind of thing.
What's your
And
mother's name?
Terry Madden or
Where
Terry.
does she live?
I have no idea. We are estranged for a good number of years now.
Okay.
Because I
What
tried to,
about the family home then?
the family home then. I'm pretty sure was in Dartmouth Square.
Where?
Dartmouth Square. Sorry, Dartmouth Square. It's just off Leeson Street. Would have been the row of small houses. I'm fairly sure it was there. It would have been between the time of um, would have been around when we were starting to move house. So I had a GP, and that GP's name was Dr. John Clements, and I always thought it was very strange that I was taken to this doctor out of the blue when I had a GP who'd known me since I was 5. No, the Dr. John Clemens had known me since there was a pre-existing GP. There was really no reason for me to be taken to this guy.
Oh, okay.
This is one of the kind of reasons there's been a bit of a row about it, but a parallel row because social workers would kind of hear things on the grapevine,
Okay.
um, and
I was gonna ask you, do you remember what year that was when you
well,
reported
I
to
would have
GP?
been. Let's see if that would have been. It would have been between 90, let's say 91 to 93. The parent will have all the details because she remembers.
Okay, but how old is she now?
She's about 70 and she's very alive.
And how long is it since you spoke?
We haven't spoke since 2018, although there's been 3 court dates, and there's an ongoing to be legal action regarding perjury and false affidavits on her part. And that plenary summons will be filed in the next 3 to 4 weeks. I have attempted to file complaint with the Gardaí regarding perjury and also the historic abuse by her multiple times. I tried to file both at the same time to minimise the stress.
Do you know your mother's date of birth?
2303 1950.
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have a sister.
What's her?
Her name is Ilva, so that's OILBHE,
Yeah.
Madden, and she's 11 years older than me, so she would have either been, she would likely have either been out, probably out of the country at that point. She would have been in Chicago, and I don't speak to her either.
So how much older is she?
She's about nearly 11 years older than me.
Why? Okay. Do you think that your mother still lives in Finglas?
I have no idea if she lives in Finglas. That's the first I've known that she lives in Finglas. Um, I've not sought her out. I've not sought any information about her. I've dealt solely with her through the court system or through her lawyers. I literally have, beyond the settling of the legal stuff and the perjury, I have literally got no interest in knowing any information about her, except sorting out the perjury. And once that's done, I don't intend on even watching her go into the ground.
Right, okay. That's grand then. If you leave it with me, I'll try and arrange somewhere. Alright,
I
I'll
can give
actually.
you a phone number for them if you want.
For who?
I can give you a phone number for the parent if you want.
Yeah.
That'd be, give me a second, that'd be 086 2486
Yeah.
599. And I'll give you her email as well. One moment. I'll just find it. It'd be,
This parent has a protection order against her. Is that right?
yeah, that was it. That was achieved through perjury. And that is a subject of legal action and an ongoing legal action. The email is terry.j.madden@gmail.com. Okay, thank you very
Alright,
much. Thank you.
no problem.